Motion.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Minutes approved. First item, renewal of the city's helicopter insurance coverage. Mr. Holmes?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. I will give the short and simple explanation of this, and Mr. James over there can fill in anything that I missed. This is the our physical and liability coverage for our TPD police helicopters. Our premium last year was $51,491. Our quoted premium to renew is $52,447, which represents an increase of $956 year over year. There is nothing about the policy or our helicopters that have changed since it was before this committee last year.
How many are insured?
All four.
How many you got? 6?
How many are those, all four of those flying right now at times?
All four of those are able to fly.
Able to.
We've
fly.
got one down right now doing major maintenance on it.
Okay.
You were busy this weekend,
We were busy this week. Very.
So,
and it
you
wasn't
know,
just because of the football game, was it?
so drones are not gonna put our helicopters out of business.
No, so I can talk about that if you want me to real quick. Drones and helicopters are two completely different things. Like,
Really?
let's go up this Saturday. The area union went out to Cottondale. We had a stolen vehicle. We got a car chase with. They can pop up. They can follow that vehicle as long as they need to. That drone has got a 3-mile radius.
Okay.
A lot of people think, hey, they both fly, but they have totally different functions.
Okay.
And we know the heights of our drones and our helicopters, they're in communication with each other so everybody's safe, but they do serve two separate purposes.
That's
I didn't know
3-mile
that.
radius, huh?
3
Yes, sir,
miles.
with the drones.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I saw Chris a lot Saturday. I said, I bet that's Chris up in my
He was
above my
waving
house.
at you.
I always
I didn't have
wave.
time to wave.
I always wave. Oh, okay, so is there any further questions? Is there a motion we approve?
So moved.
Have motion second.
So second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
On the committee now.
Motion carries. Scott, discuss insurance renewals due prior to our next meeting.
Yes, sir. So what we have done over the last couple of years is to try to organize and have a better handle on what is coming up. We don't, it's not just get an envelope for renewal in the mail. As I think you're all aware, this committee meets the 5th Tuesday of every month, and the 5th Tuesday of the month apparently has no rhyme or reason for where it falls. So that means the next Insurance and Litigation Committee meeting will be April the 29th of 2025.
That's why I chair this committee.
As you may expect, over the course of the next 6 months, we have several insurance renewals. So I want to just run through what those are with you. First, we have the airport liability that it will renew the end of January. That's actually a 3-year policy, and the total of that is about $5,300 each year.
You said that's a 3-year?
Yes, sir. We can usually lock in a quote for 3 years, and so this one has been on the books
And is
since.
that liability, or is that on the structure?
This is our airport
Operation.
liability. No, it is our specifically having to do with air accidents and the type of things specific to the airport, rather than the things that are covered under our general physical plant liability, like you would think of as. So our big policy is homeowners, right? Airport is a function that's not covered under our general liability. Our homeowners policy, it's an extra function. Good. Most municipalities don't have an airport that they run, so it's not covered under some of your.
5,300 a year for 3.
Yes, sir, for 3 years. We have our workman's comp, which will be up in February, I believe. We've done a lot with it lately to bring it down. We have our NDAA liability, which is the professional liability coverage for my office. That is about $8,000 premium generally. We usually get our application for that sometime in November. It renews in early February. We do have our property, general liability, automotive, the big policy set to renew. That is set to renew the end of February. We're in the process of getting those quotes in now. I suspect we will either have a special called or have a larger discussion about that one in Finance Committee.
And where are we on the big one? We convened a
kind of a review committee, we did an RFP,
I think an RFQ.
whatever. And then that was awarded for what, 3 or 5?
That was awarded for 5 years. I believe.
1 year at a time for 5.
Yes, sir.
So what we'll see in sometime near February is and that had like a 1.4, 1.2
It was
handle on it,
1.684.
1.684, okay. Okay,
So I suspect it will go. It always goes up, right? But there are a number of Snow Hinton Park has been brought online. Carlton Park has come online. Western River Walk has come online.
so were the first 2 previously covered under some sort of para coverage?
They were, or they just
Snow Hinton, Carlton, I guess, and Western Riverwalk didn't exist, did they?
Well, and what you look at there, our liability doesn't change, but our physical assets are a lot more valuable there than they were previously. So insuring a new pavilion costs more than insuring a pavilion from 30 years ago. We have 2 new fire stations coming online.
Scott, let me ask you, the little pocket park we built out in Beach Hills, I don't know if you're familiar with it,
No,
but
sir.
that won't make any difference in any of this?
It shouldn't. What we do is when something new comes online, when CFG gets finished and it's off, because while it's under construction, it's covered by the general contractor and the construction company. Once it comes into our inventory and is fully ready to go, we report it to Mr. Manasco at the at USI. He adds the coverage. They actually work with us really well. I mean, obviously we're a large customer. If you bought a new car at your house, you'd have to go get insurance on that car right away and pay an additional premium. They allow us to. We can add cars to our policy without paying an additional premium throughout the year. So that's kind of how those things work. But I suspect we'll have some additional conversations about that and see where things are. I'm hoping that the general inflationary things we were seeing over the last couple of years causing some of the increases just because the cost to replace buildings was so much has leveled off to a certain degree to hopefully keep that fairly normal. And then beyond that, in March, we have flood coverage for the amphitheater. There is also a security sensitive one we don't typically discuss in open meeting that should we need to discuss in the future, we'll bring back for an executive session.
So workers' comp, NDAA, the general property, the big one, and what was the last one you just did? The flood insurance.
And flood coverage and airport.
Well, are we gonna have to meet again at some point before April, I would think, or not?
Well, potentially, what I'll do is when we get our quotes in, we'll see if they're on board. You know, if looking at, let's just take the airport liability. It's 5312 a year. If we get quotes back and it's 5512 a year, I'll typically email Mr. Tyner and Mr. Busby and ask if they want to have either a special call or if they're comfortable with just putting it straight on finance committee. I expect, I don't know, but I expect we may want to have a special call at some point for the big one. But again, I'll let y'all decide that. I'm comfortable presenting it on finances.
I am
as well.
too, if that's.
Yeah.
Just see what it comes back
Yeah.
at. Workers' comp, what
Workers'
magnitude is
comp
that?
premium was $465.
We've got to add Benjamin Barnes,
Gotta add what?
new Benjamin Barnes building.
Okay.
What about J.C. Park?
Any of the stuff that's come online will be reflected in our next premium. So that's not for action today. Just to give y'all a
Sure.
brief on what's coming up.
Thank you, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Chris, anything you want to say?
No, sir.
How many pilots do we have?
We have got 6 pilots with the ability to fly the helicopter,
6.
2 mechanics.
6 pilots and 2 mechanics?
One of the pilots is a mechanic.
Oh, okay.
What, the gentleman that's been a mechanic out there forever?
John Trotter.
Is he's still going?
He is still going. He is 74 years old.
Young man.
And about 2 months
I
ago, he
remember he-
received an award. It is the Charles Taylor Award. It is a Master Mechanic Award that is given to people who have 50 years of aircraft maintenance.
Wow.
And it is a very, as you can imagine, a very small fraternity of people. So
Yes.
he was real proud to get that.
You will
bet he
never
was.
be able to replace his experience.
That's right. That's right. We tell him we're going to roll him in there just to hear what he's got to say when he can't get there anymore.
All right, is there anything else that needs to be brought before this committee? Not